We are J and J. He's Justin.
And he is Jared.
We are two leashed dads that get together to discuss our everyday lives while chained to our everyday responsibilities, parental and or otherwise, and making sure we keep up with the up and coming Marvel movies or DCU, whatever. But tonight it's MCU.
It is MCU night. Well, when he says keeping up with them, it's one thing. But tonight, folks, we're back with another ranking episode here. I feel like this is going to be a good one. Now, of course, I'm going to say it right now. There are a few that I cannot talk about because I'm not going to talk about the ones I have not seen yet.
Same.
So I would say it kind of limits the ranking a little bit. But of course, we're also not going to be talking about the ones that aren't out yet either. So,
Right.
we are currently, from what I'm looking at right now, MCU isn't currently in Phase 5. For all of you nerds out there, or that are really into MCU, you already know that the writers and everybody, they're in Phase 5. The most recent movie, as you may know, if you're keeping up with it, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, with that being said, I want to get into my week here. I think it's been a little chaotic for you of those from last week's episode to this week. Last week I went and saw, to kind of keep it on the movie side, I went and saw Fast 10. I'm going to say this. I recommend going see it. Don't shake your head at me, young man. Don't shake your head at me. I saw Fast 10. I was a little concerned with Jason Momoa being playing in it. I'm like, why are you adding a new person? You don't necessarily need to do this. Find out he's a fantastic villain.
He is. I
Plays a
love the
villain.
guy.
He is great. I was just kind of like knowing that there was still somebody out there, a previous villain out there that's on the run still, and then all of a sudden they bring in a new person. What was the point? Well, they do get to the point pretty quick. And I actually loved it. So, yes, I'm going to say it this way. There will be a part 2 for all of you that want to know. There will be a part 2. Hopefully you're okay with the cliffhanger, though. Anywho, that was Thursday. Friday, I went down to Milwaukee for my aunt who unexpectedly passed a couple weeks ago. I went and saw her. I went to her funeral and celebration of life for that day. It was just a good way to close for family, right? Family, friends. It's just a way to close.
Right.
Which actually, it kind of got me thinking on the way home with my wife. It's like, how would we want to do things when we pass? Let's say one of us passes before the other. Well, there it may be. Honestly, I want people just to move on. If you want to have your closing, but don't mourn it all the time. Do whatever you want to do. I want to be cremated, but
Same.
I just want people to have their time, whatever they need, and move on. I
Flame
don't
Brothers.
want them. Yeah, basically, we'll be Flame Brothers. Let's see here. So that was that. Pretty much the weekend was nice. It was outside, I guess. Let's see here. I went to High Cliff. Went hiking. I did some things. And by the way, I did get a state pass, or got a pass, like a year-round pass, so I can go hiking or whatever I want to do for the entire year. Sunday I did like a cookout, like a lunch cookout. So I had a lot of time in the sun over the weekend. Oh boy, was I tired. I passed out on Sunday, pretty much Sunday evening. Took a nap, an unplanned nap, whatever. Especially when it was an hour long and feeling groggy after that. Monday, Tuesday, typical work days. So nothing too exciting there. Today, however, I felt like I had a very busy schedule, which is a good thing. So, first off, I've been having internet problems. That seems to be resolved now, thankfully, but it caused a very chaotic afternoon for me. I wasn't able to finish out my workday properly. I just kind of sat there working with my um, Tech Connect team, my gurus, technology gurus,
Yeah.
um, trying to figure out what's going on. Uh, so I finished that out. After work, I went to Hoo Hot. Oh my God, I feel so full. Still, Hoo Hot's great, but I'm full still, and I was there from like 4:30 to 5:30 ish. So, and then after that, I actually ended up going to do something that my parents are created after my late sister here. Uh, they created a scholarship fund. So, with it being the end of the school year for everybody, basically, um, the high school that my sister and I attended, uh, we actually went and presented a scholarship award to the winner. Um,
Very nice.
it's, again, it's in honor of my sister, right? And she was very big with, I'll kind of, to put it out there, guys, this award or scholarship is for kind of people that have been or that are part of like the acting or theater community or have taken part in things. She was very big when she was in high school. She was very big into doing backstage for theater. So she at one point was like stage crew manager, things of that nature, working with people on getting everything set up. So in her memory and whatnot, they threw together this scholarship, which is going to be lasting for quite some time here, from my understanding as well. So I may plan on doing that quite a bit every year by trying to attend it, um, and maybe eventually take on a role where once my parents are done presenting it, I might take on the honors and present it to the school or to the winner. Um, so it's a great honor, but
That'd be
that's
awesome.
basically my weekend of just here. Um, but I'm ready. How was Jared? Tell me about yours.
It was busy. Thursday, right off the bat, Eleanor had a little presentation that she was doing, or she was getting ready for most of the year for school. It was very. I couldn't keep a dry eye for maybe 5 minutes through the. She's getting so big, and as a leash dad, it really is amazing and wonderful to see your child grow up. I don't know how to otherwise put it. One day she's throwing a tantrum over the wrong colored socks she has on. And then the next day she's up in front of 40 people presenting the next section of their performance, as well as doing yoga, singing, dancing, doing her own little performance for like maybe 2 minutes. It was crazy. I could have. Well, I didn't have that opportunity when I was her age, but I couldn't have done that at her age. Hell no.
Mm,
So I was a proud daddy Thursday, very proud daddy,
love it.
and still am. So then Saturday we had Cora's birthday party, and it was a beautiful Saturday. So I was out grilling, and everybody was outside having fun instead of cooped up in the little house. So it was great. We ran short a little bit on food, but that's better than having way too much and eating the same thing for days on end. So yeah, that was good. Sunday, I made a pact to go back to America. I don't think I was there last year, and before I had kids, I was at the track pretty much every weekend during the summer. Well, maybe not every weekend, maybe about 2 weekends every month during the summer. And after I had kids, I really didn't have time to do that, and you can't really bring an infant to Road America. Well, you can, but I don't recommend it because babies can't keep headphones on and protect their little ears from the engines. So no, I said to Natalie, I really want to get them out there so they become comfortable with it, and they can ask to go, because that was a huge part of my childhood, and I would like to make it a part of theirs too. So it was great. We only spent the morning there. It was perfect. It was beautiful, sunny, warm, and then the afternoon came home, did a bunch of yard work, hung out with my folks a little bit, and I crashed Sunday night too. It's like, it was crazy. Oh man, then this week was so busy. Just the emails are nonstop. Just not. It was, it's a rebuttal from what happened a couple weeks ago, where I actually was able to catch up. So back in the swing of things. Oh, and by the way, Eleanor sat in her first race car on Sunday as well. So
That's a proud daddy moment right there. Back to back proud daddy moments.
yep,
Watching
yep. She
your little
wasn't scared or
girl
anything.
sitting
She
in...
wanted to go in there.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. I love hearing it. It's great. I love these week recaps, everybody. Just because everything's different. You never know what's gonna happen within a week. Um, you know, even if you want to share your thoughts, do it. Just do it.
Just do
Share it.
it.
Please. We would love to hear it. Maybe even next time we have a daddy story time.
Yeah.
That sounded really creepy.
No, it doesn't. It just let it go. It sounds fine. Not creepy at all.
You and your sarcastic attitude. Thanks a lot. All right, so folks, let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Let's talk MCU. First off, I want to know, before we even actually dive into the rankings, though, Jared, I think we've covered it before, but tell me again, how the hell did you get into the MCU?
Yeah, so like you said, we did get into it briefly a few episodes ago, if not the last one, but it gave us the idea to do this. And beforehand, I've always been one to steer clear of trends because I'm just that asshole. And, I'm too cool for that shit, apparently. I don't know why I do it. I've just always been that way, so sue me, right? Um, and I was avoiding watching these Marvel movies, because I was brand loyal to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man from back in the day. I actually liked Spider-Man 3. Again, sue me. I'll take all the heat you guys want to throw at me. I liked Spider-Man 3. Shoot me, please. I don't care. So I was used to that kind of movie, and then when I heard, I watched Iron Man. Okay, fine, yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, well, am I going to watch it again? No. And then I kind of just ignored it until I was coerced into seeing Guardians of the Galaxy. And between the science fiction and the music and the comedy, it was one of the greatest movies I've ever seen at that point. And okay, all right. If we want, and I told my wife, I said, if we're going to do this, if we're going to watch these movies, let's watch them in the correct order with the correct timeline. So then, boom, Captain America, and then all the way until Endgame, and rest is history. So that's how I got into it.
Nice.
And I'm not looking back.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No,
I was
you?
honestly, I kind of hopped on the bandwagon right away with the very first Iron Man and just kind of went with the movies as they came out. Somewhere along the way, I stopped trying to catch up with them. I think some of them were like when Thor: The Dark World came out. I guess I just wasn't in tune with it at that time. Or the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I was never really known about, but during the first phase, I was basically there. Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, actually, I avoided because
Ed Norton,
some of the Hulk
Incredible
movies
Hulk.
just never were that good.
Yeah,
The Incredible Hulk, I think this had of whatever, just wasn't good, I guess. Um, or never heard good things. But yeah, Iron Man 2, Thor, or Captain America, the first Avenger, the Avengers, um, Iron Man 3, Winter Soldier, so on and so forth as it comes. Eventually, I ended up watching Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with my wife at one point, and since I never saw the first one, it was just crazy. I'm like, what the hell? Again, this is probably a part of last episode as well, but just to kind of reiterate, what the hell? Why are they stealing this? Or what is going on? Why are they doing this? And she's like, okay, we need to go back and watch the first one. So, yes, I have yet to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, to all you that are maybe thinking, okay, why aren't you ranking this one? I can't rank it yet. I'm just gonna again say it this way: we're not gonna rank any of the movies that we have not seen. So if you can keep track of that, awesome. If not, too bad. Just be cognizant of it. So, yeah, I've honestly just been part of the MCU for a while now. I do enjoy it, and we'll see where it carries on. So I'm excited to see how that pans out. Um, all right, Jared, do you want us to go first? And I think this time we're just gonna, honestly, we're just gonna go through it. So,
Yeah.
guys, might be a shorter episode because we're sharing our thoughts. And what I want to do, Jared, is share our list and then maybe kind of talk about, like, we're not going to argue, right? We're just going to kind of discuss our thoughts of why we placed them, where we're placing them. So keep in mind, we are going through our top 10. Okay?
Okay.
So,
And to
Jared, do you want to
briefly
start?
go back to your comment about where it's going from here, the rest of the phases. I know there's been a lot of negativity from a bunch of people and the critics about this new phase, and I think, yeah, I agree. It's kind of lost a lot of its cachet, a lot of its gripping. I gotta see the next movie kind of thing, and I think it'll just be kind of casual from here on out. I don't think it's going to be anything groundbreaking. Do you think so? Did you see Ant-Man and
I
the
don't think there's.
Quantumanium thing?
No, I have yet to see it. Will I see it? Yes. But it's not really one of those things I'm rushing towards because
Yeah.
the hype kind of lost. I think the hype was gone after Endgame.
Say that. Yeah, that's kind
Truthfully,
of what I was saying. It's all going to be casual from here on out. I'm not expecting anything groundbreaking. And when we
I
get
mean,
to number one,
I
I'll
was certainly
explain.
thrilled to see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you want to start at number
I
10
agree.
then? Okay.
Let's. I'm so excited for what they're planning on doing. I'm even more. I mean, we didn't put shows in our list, guys. If we
Nope.
did, my
We
list
did
would
not
be
include any of the MCU
way
shows.
different than it is.
I mean, we might do a separate ranking episode for the MCU's TV series out there, but it's all focused on what is currently out there for movies. Because again,
Right.
you look at the list and you just go, "Oh my gosh!" Um, but no, again, I do agree. I think it's just gonna be casual. Um, I was hyped by the idea. Excuse me. I was hyped by when MCU had decided and said, "Here is our goal, or here's what the next phase 4, 5, and 6 kind of look like." That brought hype, but I think that hype is now gone. So a lot of people are just going to be all casual about it. When it comes out, they're probably going to see it, or nowadays they might just wait till Disney Plus releases it rather than going to see it in movie theaters. So, with that being said, go ahead. Let's hit it up. I guess we'll start from the bottom of the tier or bottom of the list, huh?
All right. My number 10 is Captain Marvel. I really enjoyed that movie. And I did watch it a second or third time. That did have a lot of good comedy. I'm a comedy movie fan. This kind of over the top action stuff has never been my forte. But when you combine action, romance, when you combine all the genres of movie with superheroes, I'm into it. And Brie Larson, she did a really good job with being a newcomer in the MCU so late into the phase because was it Endgame that came out and then Captain Marvel or whatever, but because it was Captain Marvel and Endgame, they were so close together, and she was in Endgame that kind of almost saved the day. I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, turn it off, but Iron Man saved the day, but Captain Marvel definitely did help.
Yeah,
And
so
I think
Captain
her
Marvel came
standalone
out
movie,
the month before, by the way.
okay, the
Just to
month before,
recollect.
yes, it was so quick. And her standalone movie also with Shield being so young at that point, Samuel L. Jackson reprising his role as one of the main characters in that movie. It was great. I will forever watch that movie, and it's a strong number 10. What's your number 10?
Yeah, so my number 10 is Thor Dark World.
Okay.
I honestly the hype wasn't there for me. Uh it didn't really keep my interest at all either, as much as it does cover one of the Infinity Stones throughout, and that's kind of really the goal to me. Just not a great Thor movie in general. I think they could have probably done a little more work on it. Um, so Thor Dark World has got to be number 10. Maybe worth a rewatch here, but out of all the other considerations there, just not strong compared to other ones that I am putting on this list
Yeah.
or that you'll see on this list.
No argument there whatsoever. It's not even on my list. I thought it was such a mediocre movie. I had no ambition to go back and watch it. So I've seen it. It didn't leave a strong impression. It did deal with an Infinity Stone, like you said, but is it worth watching again? No, not really. I don't know.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. I agree. I mean, I'll be honest. You talk about number 9. You had put Captain Marvel at 10. I put her at 9.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
I would certainly go back and actually watch it again. By all means, I do like the storyline. Again, having SLJ in it, uh, her really being there, and kind of just going off doing her own thing and really showing us the story of how Captain Marvel became Captain Marvel and
Right.
what her goal is basically, really trying to save it, the universe and what she can possibly do. Um, I would definitely say I enjoyed it, knowing that it was truthfully one of the first big, strong female roles or female lead
Solo, yeah.
roles. So kudos to them for doing that. I think you could have done it sooner, but
Yeah.
hey, overall, I still think it was great. Um, I will always definitely put this at number 9 because I think there are other movies out there that do um, top it a little bit better than what they had.
All right. My number 9, again, staying with the comedy, and I'm a big. See if you guys can guess this. I'm a big fan of Paul Rudd. So
Mm-mm.
Ant Man, the number one, number 9. I've watched it I think twice. It's just a fun movie. I love the science behind it and the theories behind it. It's so cool, and the way they shot it was really cool. The CGI was spot on. So that's and Paul Rudd, you just can't beat him. Can't beat him. So that's my number 9. Good
Nice.
movie. Good movie.
So it's just Ant-Man, right? The very first
Yep.
one.
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was clear on that one. Um, no, you definitely have an interesting choice there. Paul Rudd, not a bad actor by any means. I think he does a great job of doing Ant-Man. Um, his love affair, his love life is just kind of hysterical. I think my favorite person out of Ant-Man though is his friend who
Yeah.
just
Right.
talks all the time and just comes up with a story like, "Oh yeah, I was talking to this person who was talking to this person who was talking to this
Yep.
person who knows this person and blah 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 blah." It's like, dude, you are the craziest motherfucker out there. Just like, I wish I could truly be you and that type of social butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the comedy comes in for me out of that. As much as yes, there are some other things too. Um, like when he is fighting his nemesis at that point, um, and just oh my god, Thomas flying out the window. That's funny. I've seen it multiple times, honestly. So I have to agree that it is it's got the comedy there too. Um, so yeah, lead me through it. Keep going, Jared. You got me hooked.
All right. So then my number 8 is the first Doctor Strange. Only only because of the spiritual matrix stuff that I'm going through right now in my life. it speaks really true to what dimensions are and going through the dimensions, and also it's the beginning of the multiverse. I think it's the first mention of the multiverse in the MCU. I did not care for Multiverse of Madness. A side tangent, I don't think they orchestrated that one very good. The CGI was very poor, and I'm a huge fan of WandaVision, and the way they portrayed Wanda in that movie just did not flow with the rest of her character, and it kind of just ruined the movie for me, honestly. Because I know Elizabeth Olsen can do a lot better than that, and I think it was just the writers. Honestly, it had nothing to do with her performance or her character. It was just the writers.
Hmm.
So that's
Interesting.
my number 8, the first Doctor Strange, and it's kind of a sad story too when you think about it with him and his, I think, wife, right? Her death
Uh,
and so on. So,
yes. Was it?
or love interest. I don't think it was his. What?
He never. Well, he didn't lose anybody.
Well, what happened to what's her face? I can't.
The nurse that he was good friends with.
Yeah, because they were a love interest.
They were a love interest, but he was just too much of a stuck up
Rachel
person.
McAdams.
Yeah. He just never asked her out.
Okay.
She would have said yes. I mean, if you remember in Multiverse Multiverse Madness, he it does kind of go to the point where he goes to the, sorry for all of you who haven't seen it yet, but he does go to like the wedding or whatever's going on, and he, basically was like there to almost try to confess, but it was just too late.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, uh, I would say you definitely have a great place with Doctor Strange there. Um, to me, it's very psychedelic at that point. I think that's why I would definitely agree with you on that one, of how they did that. Um, I mean, I don't I mean, if you want, watch it high. I don't do that, but it'd be very. I think it'd be very cool to maybe watch it like that.
No
Um,
comments.
right? I say I don't get high or anything, but to me, with it being the first one that kind of bends reality in a sense, um, using time stone and everything, that is just phenomenal.
Yep.
So, you know, obviously, I wouldn't argue putting it at number 8 by any means. I did, however, put Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness in there. Um,
All
being,
right. Now explain. Come on now.
yep,
Change
I'm
my
explaining.
mind.
So, I'm probably not going to change your mind by any means. I put this Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness um, down or at number 8 because honestly, I'm actually going to put Doctor Strange itself a little higher later on here. Um, but Multiverse of Madness, I would definitely consider watching again. I do like the idea of Wanda becoming more of her Dark Witch role. Um, I think when she did that, it lived up to the hype of her playing like a villainous in there. Um, so, making her a villain, yes. Was I kind of against it at first? Yes, because I'm like, why? Um, and I mean, people were always. Sadly, I got the enjoyment of watching people cosplay her, um, and it was always like her being her villain side of things. I not so much a fan of how they necessarily made her. Um, I get it though, using the children as her backstory of why she's being evil and trying to do her thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, still, I like this. I think it was a great way to kind of go into the idea of being able to travel through different uh, universes, or different worlds per se. So that's why I put it there. I think it's got a great way to show that, um, leading into the next film too, the next Doctor Strange film, if they decide to release it. I don't think they have anything in there moving forward, but I could be wrong. It could be one of those things they come out with later on. Um, but I think it was just kind of in the end, I think it was a great way to end it. At least the him diving into the dark arts, essentially. So it was just a great
So
expansion of him knowing his limitations, um, and then even getting to meet other heroes from another world.
so I'm one of those people who couldn't get past the villain role, I guess, of Elizabeth Olsen and the Scarlet Witch.
Sure.
That's
Yeah, thank you.
probably what it
Scarlet Witch,
is,
not
and
Dark Witch.
that
I
is what it
apologize.
is.
And
You
that's
know,
fair, right? It's
yeah,
not you're not used to it, and you've watched WandaVision. I've watched a few episodes, um, and I think that gives you an edge in that regards. I also think that's why like you said, you're stuck on her becoming Scarlet Witch. Um, but overall, I think it kind of makes sense too. She's lost a lot already, right? At this time, she's lost vision, and she can't have kids,
yep.
and she really wants kids, and she uses her powers to kind of go into other universes, I guess, where she does have children, and she becomes envious. So, um, that's kind of what I really like about it is knowing that she's using this and doing her uh, spirit walk per se, or ancestral walk. So,
Okay.
like I said, not going to try to convince. If I convince you, awesome. If not, hey, again, all of these are our opinions, right? Um, so never a bad thing.
Yeah,
But
I'll watch it again.
okay, yeah, I would too. I think there's certain things I missed in it, because I got enjoyment elsewhere. But number 7. So this one, because I do enjoy it. I do enjoy Chris Hemsworth. Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay,
Okay.
Love and Thunder. I like the idea. I like also the idea of bringing Natalie Portman back into it. I think getting rid of her after Dark World was kind of a eh. I wish they would have just kept her, kept her around. But Ragnarok, of course, wasn't necessarily didn't need her in there, because again, he's not near. Um, but Love and Thunder was very interesting on how they brought her back. To me,
And
though,
then give her cancer.
yeah, give her cancer. Make her a cancerous person. It sucks. I honestly thought this was going to be the way they send off Chris Hemsworth, just based on some of the trailers. So a very skewed idea, because I remember him being kind of done with his contract and everything.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought maybe, okay, well, Natalie Portman comes back in. She's got Mjolnir. She's now kind of chosen. She's going to become the next Thor, right? No, that's not the case, sadly. But I definitely still love the idea of him finding, you know, somebody else a a daughter essentially, and raising her. That was, to me, kind of a sweet, sweet send off at the end of the movie. Um, Knowing that he's able to resolve and make up for it, basically, and now he's got somebody else he can work with to become another, keep that hero going. Um, I still think it had a great story plot.
Yeah, it
Um,
did.
just still didn't like the idea they killed Natalie Portman off.
I
They
know.
seem to do that. They seem to do that quite a bit, though. Very tragic. These types of movies. Um, you know, I do also like how he tried to convince her. It's like, you should stop using this. It's killing you faster than you think it is. Um, but then again, they broke up because of differences and just not seeing each other. I actually love that comedic part of it, where their stories kind of are different and how things went.
That was
You know
funny.
how you always hear different stories. So
Yep.
that's my number 7. I would definitely give it a rewatch. And it does, of course, beat out Dark World. Um, so I mean, Thor is Thor, though. I do enjoy Chris Hemsworth. Oh, that bod. Kidding. But it overall, I still think they did a great job with these movies.
So my 7 is Ragnarok.
Nice.
Awesome movie. I only watched it once, but it left an impression, and I will watch it again at some point. Love the Hulk in it. That is, I love it. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, Chris Hemsworth is I think a perfect Thor, if I could even say that. I can't imagine anybody else being Thor, and I think the MCU kind of set all those actors in stone. No one else can play Iron Man, in my opinion, and no one else can play Thor.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it's I don't really have much else to say on that one. It was a good movie. I like the crossover with the Hulk. So, should I go on to number six?
Go for it. Take it away on number 6.
Guardians of the Galaxy number one.
There you go. Go for it.
Again,
Explain.
it's what got me started. Awesome music. Love the dance off in the end. Love that I find out that Star Lord is actually some sort of god. We got the god gene in him. This is great. And then the death of Groot kind of killed it, but they brought him back as baby Groot, and it was just even cuter in the second. Not, not even cuter. It was cute. He went from being a badass you know, lanky stick guy to a baby to a disgruntled teenager to this beefy 20-year. The evolution of Groot
The
is
evolution of
just
Groot.
it's so weird. But yeah, I and then the introduction of Chris Pratt. I'm a big Chris Pratt fan, which probably helps me with these movies. I watched Parks and Rec all the way through, maybe 7 or 8 times already. I have it on DVD. I watched it on Netflix over and over again. It was like the thing to have on in the background. And Andy is one of my favorite characters of that show. Ron Swanson, Andy, April, and then Leslie. So,
Nice. I like it.
what's your six?
Yeah. So, number 6, Doctor Strange.
Okay,
Again,
all right.
kind of really revisiting the points of it was kind of the first one where it was a reality bender. Watching these, the graphics really, um, or how creative you can be with animation, the computer graphics. I really enjoyed watching it, watching kind of what they can do with magic, and even trying to help Doctor Strange along his path after he's basically ruined his career because he was an idiot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it was great, and also kind of seeing that um, his teacher, the one, right, uh, dabbled with dark magic, learning that she wasn't necessarily uh, the enlightened one. Sorry, the enlightened one, knowing that really the enlightened one dabbled in forbidden magic, per se. Now, my favorite person though of the movie of Doctor Strange, Wong, right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, he's just the one that's always down to earth and be like, "You fucked up, dude. What the
Yeah.
hell's wrong
Oh,
with
Wong is
you?"
awesome.
Wong is by far the greatest, and I love him in all the movies too. Um, I mean, so to go there though, he just brings it. I'm gonna say this now. I did struggle with my list. Maybe some of these I could probably say I should have put on my list, but I didn't. But Endgame, I think, had a great point when Wong's like, "Is this big enough for you?" Or like the army. It's like, "Is this big enough army for you?" Which is great. Um, but yeah, so Doctor Strange, I think, has it number one or number 6 due to the idea of uh, bending reality, making something kind of repeat itself with with the villain. Um, and I apologize for forgetting his name. It's just such a I know it starts with D, Domaru or something like that, but um, I still love it. I think it was a great Doctor Strange, a great introduction to a new character before um, the second. Well, yeah. No, actually, before the Infinity War. So I think they did a great job with that and bringing him in. And Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, why not? He's great.
Right.
I think Doctor Strange was a great introduction for him and other roles that would love to watch him in other movies. So number 5 for me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. After getting the idea of watching number 2 first and then coming back and watching number 1, I would have to say number 1 will be number 5 for me, and always due to the idea that they're basically a band of misfits.
Yep.
How they came together is just great. Um, Being in search of something, uh, all connecting them, two thieves, just kind of like, what the hell are we gonna do? Rocket, by far, I would say. I mean, I love Groot. Groot is probably my favorite Guardian. Um, but Rocket being the way he is, pulling Chris Pratt's leg, basically saying, I want you to steal this. What did you do this for? Nothing. I just wanted to see you do it. It'd be funny.
That was so funny.
It's just the greatest thing. Although,
Oh, and that guy's leg. I need that guy's leg.
I need that guy's leg. What are you gonna do with the leg? Nothing. I just thought it was funny to watch you take it. Although I will say this, my least favorite Guardian though, and I don't think it'll receive much hate. It's not really a hot take, but Drax.
Yeah, he has some funny moments, but he's just an idiot. I don't know.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, everything that is said, he takes literally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that comes with the comedy side of things, which by all means, I know Guardians of the Galaxy is comedic, so nothing wrong with that. He's just my least favorite, due to some of his stupidity that actually does run through. Um, so it's just one of those things. Rocket is just a raccoon. I like that. I like the idea it's a talking raccoon. We're talking trash panda. Uh, but Groot will always be my favorite. I think Star Lord or yeah. I At the end of the movie, I think it was still great. It did tear my heart to see that Groot was killed off, but they obviously brought him back as a baby, so that's still some great things. And then Gamora, though, right? Who doesn't love a green, sexy lady?
Yeah, Zoe Salanda. I can't.
Yep,
Is that how I
Zoe
say her
Salanda.
last name?
Yeah,
But I had mainly known her for the role of Uhura on the new Star Trek movies before Guardians of the Galaxy. I knew
you're
her from
right.
that, so that
Yeah,
was a good transition.
it was. I think she still played a very good role. A very, I would say, a role she's probably comfortable in, which is more spacey and
Yep.
whatnot. So, no, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, I think with it being the original of the three that are out there right now, definitely still takes the cake. Um, so with that being said, I don't know what your thoughts are about this one, but I threw it in there. Um, Avengers Infinity War.
That's my number five.
Oh, I forgot your 5. Oops.
No, but yeah, that's a good transition because that's my number five.
All right. Well, go ahead. Let's talk about Infinity War for your number 5 then.
I thought it was a perfect setup. It was the ending was so damn dark. I think I lost my. I cried so much at the end of that one. Um, it was, but I thought it was a perfect setup to the final movie. I really do. It was really badass. I think I've seen it more than once because I like to go back and check it out. But yeah,
Yeah.
killing off Vision was kind of rough, but whatever.
I think killing off half the entire world was rough. But you're not
Yeah.
wrong. I do think that you're right. but I think Infinity War being the first Avengers movie out there. Actually, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
Avengers. Avengers itself was the first one. But Avengers Infinity War being able to, and I apologize for being an idiot and saying that, um, being the first introductory to, well, not first, god damn, that's not even true either. But finally bringing Thanos into the picture as the all powerful, in a sense,
As the main villain.
as the main villain, yes. I think that was great. Now, yes, from watching other movies, right, he has been introduced. After the first Avengers, he was brought, at the end scene. That was him, right?
Yep.
After they beat Loki. But I think Infinity War was great. I love the idea of finally bringing, um, as much as people were still segmented away from each other, like Iron Man, with the Guardians, Doctor Strange, Spider Man. But then you've got basically a war on two fronts. You've got Thanos' army in Wakanda. You've got Thanos taking on half the Avengers already and kicking their ass. Hate the idea that, yeah, as much as I still love Star-Lord, I hate the idea that he let the emotions get the better of him. Uh, if he just wouldn't have been an idiot, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
They would have won. But they did need to, basically change everything up again. Um, so being the first introductory to Thanos, where he's actually the main villain, was great. Finally having all the Infinity Stones together, just kind of, I love the tie together. Um, and then again, bringing all, kind of bringing the Avengers together was pretty good. So kudos there. Um, or at least starting to bring them together, I should say, because they weren't all together. Um, but I think my favorite part of the movie was, in fact, the war on Wakanda. Um, and then Thanos killing off Vision was fairly dark. So watching him just rip the stone, the Mind Stone
Yep.
out of his head. So yeah, that's my number four. I know Jared said it was his number five. So tell me, Jared, what's your number four then?
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Yes. I'm a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan, and he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I did not see the plot twist coming. So I mean, I could have been an idiot, but I love that movie. I was, growing up in the '90s. Mysterio, right?
Yep.
He was a villain in the cartoon series, The Amazing Spider-Man, or The Adventures of Spider-Man. I forgot what the actual name of it is, but it was always on in the '90s when I was watching TV.
Yeah.
So I remember him a lot, and I love the European trip as well, and the growing romance between Peter and Mary Jane. It's such a fun movie, and it's also super intense at the same time.
It was. I would. I didn't put Spider-Man Far From Home on there, um, but I would definitely agree if I were to go through a list and maybe recompile everything, or just maybe create a second list. I think
Yeah,
there's just too many movies. I'm just kind of going off of what felt comfortable, um, at the time. But no, Far From Home, I still think it was a great movie. Uh, Jake Gyllenhaal is definitely a great Mysterio. I agree with the plot twist. I didn't see that coming at all. Um, the tech, those drones, that was just phenomenal for
yeah. The tech and the
CGI and
CGI
everything.
was amazing.
Yeah, like I did not even see that. Like CGI to make CGI, CGI to make CGI. That was just phenomenal.
Yep.
Um, so no, that I think Jake Gyllenhaal bringing him in as a um character in Spider-Man was great. So I also like the idea of them bringing in different villains compared to like the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, or even the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. Um, so just trying to figure out how they would do that. That was actually pretty cool. So um, it can be sometimes ballsy too, right? Uh, where you try not to repeat something, and then it might
Yeah.
not turn out. But Tom Holland did a very good job with playing Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Zendaya just does a good job. The fact that they also made it where he was in high school
Hmm.
for or is still in high school is great. Um,
Yeah.
so they did an excellent job. Story writers did a great job. All right, hit me with your number three.
Number three goes to Guardians of the Galaxy. Number three.
Tell me why.
I can't say much. I don't want to say much because I don't want to ruin it. But I think I said this a couple weeks ago when I saw it. I was laughing and crying off and on throughout the entire movie. So it was such a roller coaster of emotion, and it was also very well done. It wasn't over the top comedy stupid. It was just right because at the same time you had a lot of heart wrenching, just brutal scenes of brutality. Lovely English, but
Man, you
off
haven't
my
even
game
been
today,
drinking at all
folks.
either.
But no, anybody who hasn't seen it yet, I highly recommend seeing it in theaters. Otherwise, wait till it comes out into Plus, I guess.
Cool. No, I can't say much. I haven't seen it, so that's why
Yep.
it's not on my list. Or wouldn't be on the list at all right now because I haven't seen it. For me, Captain America: Civil War.
Really? Isn't Civil War an Avengers movie?
Nope.
Okay.
It's the um really the split between ideals,
Yeah.
like wanting to still remain, but others are like, no, I'm done. The people are trying to just control us. I like the idea that it's basically a split between two very strong leading characters, Chris Evans and RDJ. So, Captain America and Iron Man. I love the concept of having a kind of a divide between the Avengers in that sense. Now, some people, of course, may hate it because it's like, okay, well, now the Avengers are split. Well, guys, you got to remember, they still come back in Infinity War and Endgame and work together.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess, but as one of those people who hate that movie, it was just kind of obnoxious to have no villain besides themselves, and it was just really you're gonna fight themselves because of some political bullshit. Really, I mean, I don't.
I'm not much of a political person either. I just liked it because you can definitely see uh, the Avengers and how they use their strengths against like their own weaknesses as well.
Yeah,
So, and just having those like counters here and there, even watching some of the, I would also say like some of the characters being torn between it because they're like, I don't know which side to really choose. Um, I believe it was ScarJo that was kind of torn between which side, because she felt both sides were very compelling to her. Um, I just I love the action when they went to Germany. That was just
mm,
great. Um, I still love the idea that it takes two people to almost take down Iron Man. watching watching Captain America and Winter Soldier take down Iron Man was great. It sucks because it was tearing some heartstrings or pulling at heartstrings a little bit. Watching Iron Man get beat by two people, but still, I that's why I put it at number three because I love the fight they had, um, and kind of just watching the Avengers fall apart, and then eventually it kind of comes tying back together through like Infinity War and Endgame. So that's my number three.
all right. So then my number two would be Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I feel a trend going here.
Again, just solid music, solid acting. Kurt Russell. I don't know why. I've heard recently that people hate that movie. I don't know why. I think it was funnier than the first one. and I like the storyline of Peter's dad giving his mother cancer just to create a perfect universe for himself. It was so just ethically twisted. It was great. I really loved the rivalry between Gamora and Nebula as well. That was funny and intense and really cool action scenes as well. The CGI was good. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when Rocket's in the trees and he's doing the anti gravity to the Ravagers, and then of course the death of what's his face?
Yondu.
Yeah, Yondu. That was so sad. And Sylvester Stallone being in the movie too. That was crazy. I didn't see that coming. And then the fallout between
Oh, he was in
the
the
rest
first
of
one too,
the
though.
Ravagers, the mutiny. I can go on for hours on that damn movie. I swear.
Yeah, it surprises me a little bit, but I kind of saw the pattern going as soon as you said Volume 1 at whatever, and then Volume 3. I'm like, he's gonna
6.
have he's gonna have Volume 2. I know
Yep.
he's gonna have Volume 2 because Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of like that point of you gave it a chance again, essentially. Um, Now you saying Volume 2 is very interesting. Uh, my thought was, as much as they introduced Peter being a celestial, that was like, oh god, this is such a terrible plot. Kurt Russell, I think, still did an amazing job as a villain in a sense, with the idea of wanting to, be very, very greedy and take on worlds for himself to empower himself. Um, the Yondu send off was very saddening. I liked the idea of how they did it, where they all brought everybody together,
Yep.
um, the Ravagers and all the other like members, and even Sylvester Stallone again. He was again, I believe, in the first one, if maybe for a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't remember. It's been a while, but yeah. So I think having him come in uh, was okay. I do like the sisterly rivalry that they had with Gamora and Nebula. Um, but overall, I would put another Guardians of the Galaxy ahead of it though. But again, I haven't seen Volume 3 yet, so I can't say that. I would probably put one because it's the original over it, and most times sequels just don't do as well. Um, my number two is things just keep things going. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Love the idea
Right
of
after, yeah, Infinity War.
love how it takes after the Infinity War. People are scavenging around New York. Peter's coming into into himself. Uh, Gone on his field trip, got bit by a radioactive spider, transformed. Um, Keeping it a secret is just phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
as much as Ned, his best friend, knows about it and everything, just watching him try to keep it a secret from other people, um, and then yeah, meeting a hot Aunt May as well. That's just kind of one of those things I never
Marissa
saw.
Tomei.
I never thought I was going to see that happen either. Having one of those hot Aunt Mays, whereas like Tobey Maguire's May wasn't exactly the hot. She was, they portrayed her as a
Beautiful
very
woman.
old person.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think they did a great thing with that. Uh, Also having Tony Stark in it as well, just in tying the universe together, making sure, just bring him in, kind of introducing how that relationship was going to tie out. That's my thought on Homecoming there. So, and having his first villain being the Vulture, whereas Tobey Maguire's first villain was Green Goblin. Well, that's a hard, that difference there is very difficult. But then again, you've got Tom Holland's villain Vulture being the father of his crush.
Yep.
That was great.
I misspoke, folks. It was after Endgame. It was not after Infinity War. I misspoke because Peter was involved in the blip. He disappeared, so it couldn't have been after
It
Infinity War.
was it was after the first Avengers.
I thought it was after Endgame because they talked about the blip, or
Nope.
was that in
So Peter
Far
was
From
in
Home?
uh Far From
That
Home
was
was the
Far
blip.
From Home, I'm thinking. Okay.
Yep. Because Far From Home occurs after Stark dies.
Yep, that's right.
So
My mistake. I'm an idiot.
yeah, I've made those before, so it's all good. All right, let's round it out here. This kind of, I guess, went on a little longer than anticipated. I want
One.
to hear. I want to hear it.
Oh, I was gonna say on the
Oh, you
same
want to do it
time.
together?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
One,
One, two,
two, three.
three.
Iron Man 2.
Endgame. Okay. All right. So I'm Endgame, and you're Iron Man 2.
Yep.
You go.
All right. Iron Man 2. I love the idea of the villain that they had.
Mickey
Bringing.
Rourke? Really?
Yeah. I liked it, knowing that he was trying to get revenge on Tony
Yeah.
Stark for everything. Breaking out of prison, or actually not really breaking out, but being broken, or like getting things pulled for him, strings pulled for him, and knowing that he was working for somebody but had his own plot uh, for revenge. Seeing him multiple times, but then also Rhodey having his own suit as well,
Yep.
and then being called War Machine and bringing him in as the War Machine later on too. Great introduction there. Watching the two battle out, watching Tony Stark and his the best friends collide again,
Hmm.
kind of like a brotherly rivalry at that point. Um, but the reason why it's my number one, guys, and this is probably a piss poor reason, is because this is the first movie I went to and saw at midnight release when I was still in
That's not
high
a piss
school.
poor excuse. That's solid. Respect.
It was I went against my father's rules. Or I
Ah.
went against my father's wishings. I had asked him. He said no because you have school the next morning. But my best friend and I we snuck out of the house anyways and went and saw it because before I really got the okay to do it, I already had the tickets, thinking it was gonna be okay. Yeah, it just wasn't okay.
Nice.
So that is kind of like the top of the reason why Iron Man 2 is my favorite. I still love the storyline of how it came to be after he, worked on taking care of himself and whatnot. Um, it just, to me, I think it's one of those where I would say it's close to better than the original.
Okay.
I mean, even though it's kind of a repeat where they have another Iron Man suit, but that was kind of the whole point too. It's like the Iron Man suits are only supposed to be for one person, but
Right.
why not make it a weapon for everybody to have? So it's still kind of just trying to prove that point that not everybody has the right to have these types of suits.
Yeah. I like you make a good point that I thought it was better than the first one, honestly. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one, so the second one actually was really good. My favorite part of the movie, I think, would be Mickey Rourke stopping that Indy car or Formula One or whatever
Yeah.
with the electric chain thing.
Yep.
That was cool.
That was a great one watching that happen. So, all right, hit
Yeah.
hit it up with the Endgame.
This is the movie that solidified my passion for the MCU. With the writing, the actors, the storylines, it solidified it all. Again, spoiler alert, it's probably too late at this point, but when Tony Stark died, I I couldn't believe it. And again, I'm a very emotional person, and I had to bite my tongue from just losing it because, and especially after the fact of the funeral, and I can't even think of the dude's name now. Favreau's character,
Happy,
John Favreau, huh?
happy.
Happy, yeah, and him explaining to his daughter, Iron Man's daughter, and Gwyneth Paltrow, her performance was great as well. It's
Hmm.
just with the fighting scenes, and then once they come all together again, when the guy now, damn it, Wing, right?
I don't know who you're trying to get to.
Where he opens up the portal, and then the rest of them come in.
Oh, yeah, Bruce. Oh, not Banner.
No, We just talked about him
Oh,
earlier.
Wong. Yeah, you're right.
Wong,
Where
Wong.
Wong and opening all or having all the mages or wizards open the
Right.
portals and bringing the entire army. Is this
And
enough for
then
you?
and then when Captain Marvel came in and then all the women took a crack at Thanos, that was badass. It was just so cool.
Hiya, Peter Parker. Heard you need my help.
What?
Hiya, Peter.
Yeah, yeah. That'll forever be my number one. It was a perfect ending to the series. A lot of sad moments, but also it was a triumph.
I think Endgame honestly should have just been the end of Phase 2 or Phase 3. Sorry,
Yep.
but
I
they
think they
did.
just I think they just should have stopped.
They could
But
have.
yeah, they could have easily just
They very well
stopped.
should have. Honestly. So, um, hey guys, those are our lists. I know probably a lot of people may disagree, but that's okay because these are all opinions. I would love for you to actually share your opinions with us. You can send it to leasheddads14@gmail.com. Hit us up on our Facebook page. You can hit me up on TikTok. Comment on this video when it comes out or when you see it. Um, other than that, I mean, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube as well. Let us know. I'd love to see your thoughts. But with that being said here, I will be brief because I wanted to hit some of these jokes as, again, I finally found some Marvel themed jokes.
Yay! I
Yay,
love
finally.
the memes too, the Marvel memes, the Thanos memes. They're
Ah,
hilarious.
there are some good ones out there.
Yeah.
So just to hit some laughters off here though, um, what's always missing from Tony Stark's kitchen?
What?
The pepper pots.
Nice.
So I don't know if you know this one though. Avengers Endgame is usually seen as Marvel's longest movie, but that's not true. It's their 22nd film.
Oh,
Had to give him a moment. Their
yep.
22nd film. Uh, all right. I think this will be the last one. For basically, honestly, time's sake. What happens when you cross Quicksilver with the Hulk?
What?
You get the Fast and the Furious.
I
So
love
yeah.
it.
See, I was finally able to find some good ones that could make Jared laugh. Finally. Guys, that's it. As always, appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening. I will make a quick shout out. Thank you very much to another person that decided to share that they do listen and they tell us to keep up the great work. You know who you are. We love all of you as well for listening to our podcast, Leashed Dads. Again, hit us up on Facebook, however you want to comment to us, email even. Again, leashdads14@gmail.com. Um, if you listen to it on Spotify, let us know. We're on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. So, okay, guys, again, thank you. Jared, thanks for being an amazing host, and we'll see you next time.